Hello! Welcome back for part 3 of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. We'll be going into the investigation part 4. We might do a little bit of the trial if part 4 of the investigation doesn't take long. But otherwise, it might be a short stream. I'm gonna make this a bit smaller. 16th April, 1:26 p.m., Windy Banks Pawnbrokery. Here we are again, at the scene of the crime. Now to thrust these representation papers in Gregson's face and see what he makes of them. Hello again, Inspector. Do you have a minute, please? What is it now? You should go home and get some rest. Here you are, Gregsy. Here are the representation papers. Your ladyship. How? I don't believe it. How the devil did you get that stubborn little ragabash to sign that? I salute you. That is good work, that is. I can see you've been very busy here as well. How about some tea? It's a special blend designed to relieve fatigue. Look. Should I just, like... I don't know. Ah, lovely. Well, let's see now. Yes. I hardly feel tired at all. I'm fit as a fiddle, your ladyship. Would it be alright if we investigated the scene of the crime, then? Do as you please. You know where it happened. Through that door behind the counter. Yes, the storeroom. That is where I discovered Mr. Windybank and Gina. Right, well, I'll be getting back to business then. Will you be investigating the storm room as well, Inspector? If I'm perfectly honest, we need to wrap this up before long. Can't afford to spend too much time on it. But there are so many articles to go through. It is taking forever, even with the lads working round the clock. Which is a problem, because there's another case the Yard needs to investigate urgently. That must be what Lord Strongheart meant by far more serious matters before. So what I'm saying is, don't get under my feet, Sunshine. Come then, let us not waste any time. Oh yes, a bullet hole. And I can see the bullet is still lodged in the wall. Presumably, Mr. Windybank wasn't practicing with his revolver in his spare time. Well, considering that there's also blood there. Ah, well. Mr. Sholmes likes to practice in his drawing room whenever he can. He's very patriotic like that. Sorry? It's all there in the Adventures of Sherlock Sholmes, you know. Isn't that right, Iris? Ah, did I write something like that? Partly in jest, perhaps. In jest? Well, he doesn't do it often. It is quite a dangerous pastime. He doesn't do it often. He shouldn't even do it once. Forget that for now, Runo. Let us examine this bullet. What is that around the bullet hole? Is it blood? A suspicious red stain on the calendar. Aha! I may well be able to help you with that. What? There's nothing like the sight of blood to get the blood pumping, is there, Bruno? I have a feeling I'm not as bloody-minded as you, Iris. I'm afraid the sight of blood makes my blood run cold. There you have it, you see. When it comes to blood, we're all different types. Yes, what a scientific observation. So you need this! Oh no, what is that scary looking thing? Hurley and I haven't actually come up with a name for it yet. But As soon as you see it in action, you'll understand what it does. Watch. It's green now. I didn't know we were playing Danganronpa with different colored blood. Oh, the color of the blood stain has changed. There, does it make sense now? Yes, I think I'm starting to understand. Good. It works on the principle that different people have different types of blood, you see. Yes, how wonderful. The chemical it fires combines with the blood and makes it change color. So you can identify whose blood it is that you're looking at in a flash. Oh, what a fabulous invention, Iris. Isn't it? Isn't it? I bet Guinea would say it is bleeding great. So, whose blood are we looking at then? Is it Sholm? Well, all the chemical does is turn the blood a different color, so... Just find someone whose blood turns the same color and you'll know who it belongs to in a flash. It's more like 2 flashes, really, isn't it? 1 flash for 2. This could well turn out to be a very valuable clue. So we must make a note of it in the court record. The blood sample has been entered in the court record. Okay. Let us keep testing and adding the results of any other blood analysis to the portfolio. As long as I have Regent left, sure. I actually want to get into a little tangent real quick. It's completely unoriginal, but Elon Musk is absolutely idiotic. First, with the Twitter thing. X is such a stupid name. I know I'm really late on that, but God, is it an awful name. This is that strange contraption that lets you see pictures of things as if they are right in front of your eyes. It makes you think, when Mr. Sholmes gleefully showed it to us yesterday, we were blissfully unaware that any of this was about to happen. This officer has been staring intently at the wall since before we came in here. Shh, keep it down. Oh, sorry. There's a major clue, Gesture. Really? Then you must tell Grexia at once. But as soon as I report it, that'll be it. I'll be stuck here for even longer. Stuck here? What do you mean? I haven't been home in 2 days already. I need another constable to relieve me and take over me shift. They really have a tough time, the British police. That doesn't stop us investigating, though, does it? No, I suppose not. I'm fairly sure it was the calendar he was peering at. Okay. The police are scouring every inch of this place, by the look of it. Instructions from the yard are to examine every article in the shop, and every ledger and book of counts. Every article, but that's a ridiculous amount of work, surely. We've been hard at it ever since the shop was declared a crime scene in the early hours. We're sifting through it all in shifts at least, but still. We'll be working through the night, that's for sure, and even then, we'll barely have scratched the surface. A crime in a pawnbroker's. It must be every policeman's worst nightmare. It is every copper's worst nightmare, you know. A crime in a pawnbroker's. These shelves are where the pawnbroker puts articles that have been forfeited on display for customers to buy. Yes, it is a really strange miscellany, isn't it? I mean, who would buy this horse statue, for example? Well, sometimes you can find some real treasures among all the junk, you know. Are you alright, Runo? Oh, it's just, well, it looks like a collection of useless junk as a whole, but when you pick out individual things, you can't help wishing you owned them. Even that horse statue. That's exactly how the pawnbroker works. They are very clever. Oh, I can examine this. I'm fairly sure this contraption was here yesterday as well. Here we are, though I'm not confident I can get it closed again. Oh, yes, that's a folding stereoscope. Really? This is a stereoscope? Mr. Sholmes showed us a picture yesterday that you were supposed to be able to see in 3 dimensions. But for that, he used the great big contraption over there. Well, that's for use in public houses and places like that. It contains a carousel with all sorts of pictures inside. But this little thing is much simpler designed for use at home. There are special shops selling prints you can use in them. I have a little collection myself. I wonder if I can make money out of these in Japan. It would beat keeping my toilet sparkling clean anyway. That is a music box. Do you have them where you come from, Runo? Yes, but I've never seen one as large as this in Japan. Oh, well, this will be a treat. Shall we have a listen? What do you think? Isn't that a pretty sound? It's a beautiful sound, yes, but it's a little hard to enjoy when all the policemen in the room are giving you fierce looks. Never mind that. If any of them say anything, I'll tell Grexy to have a word. Iris Wilson, Superintendent of Scotland Yard. The shovel. Oh, the lamp's broken. There is the article ledger here, and Mr. Windybank's notes, and, what's this? It looks as though someone has left a little photographic print behind. Oh, look at on the back. There's some writing. Didn't we go over this on the, last time I streamed? In part 2? Is there? Oh, show us! Susie, show us! Or would that... No, that might have been in my first stream on Case 5. 15th February, 10:30 p.m. Article deposited, 1 gentleman's overcoat. Loan amount paid, £1. Redemption deadline, 15th April, 10:30 p.m. A gentleman's overcoat pawned for £1. Clearly it was a very fine coat. In fact, I think... Yes! This must be the ticket for the overcoat that Ginny redeemed yesterday. And is still wearing, which belonged to McGilded. I would never expected the redemption ticket to be handwritten on the back of a photograph, too. It seems Mr. Windybank just used whatever piece of paper he happened to have on hand. But this photograph of a cat... It looks very familiar, doesn't it? I'm sure I've seen this exact same picture somewhere else recently. Oh, yes, you are right. Very recently. It is the same as the one Ginny gave us earlier. Of course, I was forgetting that she gave us that print. Well, what are you waiting for then, Mr. Naruto? Get it out. Alright, alright. Let the cogs turn. Yes, they are exactly the same. Not sure if there's any differences. Let's see any. I got it. These two photographs hide an amazing secret. Secret? What does she mean? You must tell us, Iris, at once! Heh. Do you really want to know? Yes, we need you to tell us all you know about this pair of photographs. Oh. Let's ask about the pair of photographs. So, Iris, about these two photographic prints. The one we found here on Mr. Windybank's counter and the one Gina gave us before. What is this amazing secret you mentioned that's hidden between these two identical prints? Actually, that is not quite right. Sorry. If you look carefully, the two prints aren't the same. Not exactly. They are not? Have another look at them now. Okay. I mean... Yeah, I can see it now, but like... At the eyes on the left side, the cat's looking in a different direction. And it looks like the ground has been reversed. Well, like, this stain shadow underneath the cat, it is reversed in both prints. I don't immediately notice anything else. Can you see that they are just slightly different from each other? I think so. It is very subtle, though. But what is the reason for the subtle difference between the two prints? Ah, well, it's because they are a set, you see. No, I don't. This pair of photographs is meant to be used in a stereoscope. Everyone in London is raving about them at the moment. Ah, a stereoscope. Why do I feel as though I've heard that word before recently? Oh, yes! That is what Mr. Sholmes showed us yesterday. You see? There it is, just over there. Ah, yes, of course. That magical machine that makes pictures look almost real enough to touch. Hee. Well, actually, it is quite possible to see the same depth in pictures, even without one of those contraptions. What? Really? Do you know how a pair of flat photographic prints can appear to have any depth in the first place? Because it measures light, I think. No, I have no idea. Oh, wonderful. Then I'll be able to tell you. She's over the moon, bless her. Should we let her explain, though? We really need to carry on investigating the scene. I, for one, simply have to know. Oh. Let's get into it. Have you ever considered, Runo, how our eyes see depth in the world around us? Well, I just opened them and it works. But the reason it works is because we have two eyes. Two eyes? Shocking. If you try closing just one eye at a time, I think you'll see straight away. What you see with your left eye and what you see with your right eye are ever so slightly different. You get a view with each eye. Yes, the position of objects seems to shift slightly. Exactly, and in your head, your brain uses that shift to estimate depth. To estimate depth as it merges the two views into one. That is how we can sense depth in everything we see. Sorry, I had to sneeze. So that basically means that anyone like the Demo Man from Team Fortress 2 or a Cyclops would have a hard time seeing. Don't know why I need to explain that. My brain really is amazing, isn't it? It does so much without telling me. Ah, I think I see. So the pair of photographs consist of a left eye view and a right eye view. Is that right? Oh, well done, Susie. You are so quick. So, if you could persuade your brain to merge the two pictures together in your head, you'd be able to see depth in these prints. Yes, Bruno, you're beginning to understand. A stereoscope's function is to act as your brain and allow you to do just that. Yes, but as long as you have two images, two eyes, and one brain, you can actually do it yourself without needing a stereoscope at all. You can, really? Should I continue going over the stereoscopic, or should I actually continue on with the investigation? Give a second for whoever's in chat. It looks like it's more stereoscopic then. Let us try it. Let us see if you can view this pair of prints without the help of a stereoscope. Oh, yes. I'm dying to have a go. Susada-san really loves this kind of thing. You need to be able to cross your eyes. That is the main thing. Can you both do that? Cross my eyes? I think I can. Watch me. And see if you can copy. Looks so stupid doing that. Make your eyes do this. Alright, let me try. Are you ready, Mr. Naruto? God, that just makes them look so stupid. Looks like they both have a single brain cell. There, how's that? Wonderful. Now it's your turn, Runo. The trick is to concentrate on looking at the bridge of your nose with both eyes at the same time. Not exactly an easy task when two people are staring at you cross-eyed. Alright, that is enough practice. Now let's try it looking at the prints. Start by staring at one print and slowly crossing your eyes. You should see two overlapping images like this. You try it now, Runo. I'm just going to have to give it a try, I suppose. Did the print split into two images for you? Now the next step is to put the pair of prints side by side like this, and then try crossing your eyes again. The prints should slowly merge together until it's still a picture of a cat. They form a new single image in the center. Oh, yes! Mr. Naruhodo, it works! I can see it in the middle now. It looks so real. Oh, I could look at it all day. I wouldn't advise that. Your eyes might start to hurt. Your turn, Runo. Pretend you are looking through the two pictures. Slowly cross your eyes. Keep adjusting the position of your eyes until the two images overlap exactly in the middle. Like this, is it? There, you managed it. So now you know how stereoscopic images work. Well, I don't know who discovered it, but it really is quite extraordinary. So, what do you think of these stereoscopic prints then, Runo? They're certainly amazing, but it isn't easy to get the knack of viewing them properly. No, some people find it easier than others. But that's why contraptions like this exist, for people who find it tricky. Oh, I recognize that. We saw one over there yesterday, didn't we? If I remember correctly, you press this little knob here. Then, set the pair of photographs in the stand at the back and it becomes one. It's still amazing, even though I know roughly how it works now. Well, London seems to agree with you. Stereoscopes are very popular at the moment. You can find one of these folding contraptions in lots of households in the capital currently. But if these little machines are so affordable, surely there is no need to go around staring cross-eyed at pictures like you hate them. But it is much more satisfying to be able to see the effect with your own eyes. Well, I think so in any case. Stereoscopic pictures. I never even heard of them until yesterday. We've certainly learnt a lot about them, but I wonder if it's knowledge that I'll ever actually need. The second white cat photograph has been entered into the court record. Okay, so I guess that was at least somewhat useful to go over. Are we going to talk about how the lamp is broken now? That ledger that is open on the counter there really is enormous, isn't it? It must be an awful lot of work to keep track of all these hundreds of items in pawn. It is too much to think about. Better to sell it all and have a clear head if you ask me. But clearly, Mr. Windybank was very careful when it came to the articles in his care. Behind that door is the storeroom, isn't it? That is what Grexy said. Yes, and that is where I saw that dreadful scene last night. Through the little window in the door. Mr. Windybank face down on the floor, with Gina beside him. As the accused legal representative, you have the right to examine the scene, Mr. Naruhodo. We must make a thorough investigation. Yes, of course, and we will. Behind that door, that is the real scene of the crime. Don't worry. If there are clues in there, I'll find them. Let's go. Behind that door is the storm, isn't it? That's what Grexy said. How do I guess I just used the move thing to enter in there. Okay. Let's move into the storeroom then. April 16th, Windy Bank's storeroom, where the body and the gun were found. Poor Iris, she's claimed up completely. Iris is bound to find this difficult. After all, Mr. Windbank's life was taken in this very room only last night. Ah! Wait, Inspector! What is it now, Sunshine? You took one look at me and tried to run away. You think a Scotland Yard inspector would run away from some jumped-up little defense lawyer, do ya? I just, well... I've never seen her ladyship looking like that before, is the thing. I didn't know what to say to her. So you weren't running away from me, you were running away from a 10-year-old. That's funny. I'm afraid this is all a little much for young Iris. Some gentle reassurance might go a long way, perhaps, Inspector. Eh? Ahem. Don't trouble yourself unduly, your ladyship. I mean, at least you are not dead, are you? That is the worst way to comfort someone I have ever heard. I don't think that went very well. Why? Look, I'm in the middle of an investigation here, Sunshine, and I told you not to get under my feet. And we have investigating to do ourselves. Yes. I'd like to hear more of what the socially inept inspector has to say. Oh, Hurley. And inquire into how Mr. Sholmes' operation is going. Let's examine first, and then talk to him. Look at all these articles that have been deposited. The room is stuffed full of them. I can't believe how many there are. A bicycle, a gramophone, musical instruments, even some enormous paintings. Look. Pieces of different people's lives, quietly gathering dust in here together. There's something very peaceful about the atmosphere in here. Or at least there would be, if not for the chalk outline on the floor and the policemen shuffling around. Not much I can do about that, Sunshine. This is a revolver, a real one. And quite possibly the murder weapon used to take Mr. Windbank's life. What is the matter, Susie? You and Reno look like you're about to faint. Well, it's just that I've rarely seen a gun in the flesh, and I've had issues with guns in the past. But anyway, we saw Mr. Windybank with this yesterday, didn't we? I shall have to take my own life. My goodness, Mr. Windybank. It must be the same gun. And last night, when I looked through the spy hole in the door to the storeroom here. I think I know why the first part of my VOD on YouTube might not be getting many views now. Might be a problem with that. I'll probably have to edit it. That was the same gun I saw in Gina's hand. Mr. Windybank told us that he only ever had a single bullet loaded in his revolver, didn't he? Well, it is empty now. The one and only bullet he had in his gun has been fired. So, we can be fairly certain that only a single shot was fired from this revolver. Out of all the articles in the storeroom, this is the only thing that shows any sign of being ransacked. What is it, Iris? That is the box file that my manuscript was being kept in. Oh! Iris's unpublished story, The Hound of the Baskervilles. Surely, that is not what all this... Sorry, Iris, but if you ask me, he sold it. Without telling you. We must check inside the box. At once. Well, it's open, so it must not be in there. Yes. Ah! It was there! Iris's story was there! Really? It was? Well, that is good news, isn't it, Iris? Yes. I mean, of course. I believed Hurley when he said he deposited it here, but still. It is a relief to actually see it. Really? Because that's not a very well hidden frown. Iris's manuscript has been entered into the court record. Okay. Let's look over that, actually. Or not. Because that's massive. I can't find anything out of place. The name, I guess. The Hound of the Baskervilles. How does this Sato-san know the exact title of this unpublished story? I suppose I'll just have to wait until she's ready to explain it to me. I'm so sorry. The police have marked the position of the body with a chalk line. Poor Mr. Windybank. He was a nice old man. Well, he was shot just once, through the heart. Most likely, the fellow died instantly. He wouldn't have felt a thing. This must be his blood, then. Ah! I don't like to ask at such a wretched time, Iris, but I wonder if perhaps... Don't worry, Iris. I mean, Susie. I'm ready for action. Okay, they're not the same patterns of blood. So, now we know the color of the chemical turns when it reacts with Mr. Windybank's blood. It turns like a purplish color. Purplish or dark blue. And it doesn't match our analysis of the bloodstain we found in the main shop. No, but let us add this sample to the others we've already collected anyway. The blood samples in the portfolio have been updated. So, Inspector, what do you make of the crime scene here? Pshaw, you've got eyes, haven't you? Use them! It is what it looks like, nothing more, nothing less. Iris, could you lend me a hand? So, Gregsy, what do you make of the crime scene here? Oh, yes, your ladyship. Do allow me to humbly explain. Last night, shortly after the hour of 1 o'clock in the morning, Scotland Yard police attended the scene. The one and only door to the storeroom was found locked from the inside. So it was locked from the inside. Wait, if it was locked from the inside... the lock appears to be broken now, though. Was that the police officers doing? Quite right, ma'am. Quite right. We took the liberty of smashing the door in as humbly as possible. As you can see, the victim was discovered prostrate on the floor, thuswise. And next to the aforementioned body, we discovered the vile gutter child. Are you talking about Guinea? She's my friend, you know, Inspector. Miss Lestrade, the hapless girl, was curled up on the floor, dead to the world. She's still alive, you know. Yes, when I saw her, she appeared to be unconscious. And I'm afraid to say she had the gun that was used in her hand. No! Presumably, it is the gun that is still down there on the floor now. In her pocket, we found the key to the door as well. What? The key to the storeroom? And you say the storeroom had been locked from the inside, Inspector? Correct. All of which leaves her ladyship's friend. It's something of a sticky situation, I'm afraid. Obviously, my personal opinion is that it's all some sort of misunderstanding. Of course it is, Inspector. Of course it is. Grexy, do you know anything about Hurley? Is the operation finished? Is Hurley alright? Is he? The thing is, don't mince your words, Inspector, please. You don't mean to say that Mr. Sholmes is... No. The operation's done and dusted. It's just that, well... Out with it! Yes, ma'am! They use something called a general anesthetic. It is the latest thing, renders the whole body insensitive. The whole body anesthetized? I don't know. Anesthetized. Whichever word that I want to use. Is that even possible? It means the operation can be completed while the patient is fast asleep. Goodness, in the Empire of Japan, we can just manage to provide laughing gas for tooth extraction. The trouble is, the latest thing isn't always the greatest thing, if you follow my meaning. They couldn't get the medication to work at first, so it took hours for him to nod off, or so I hear. And now that the op's finished, they can't get him to wake up, apparently. Oh my! No one knows if it's the anesthetic still in the system, or if the bloke's just plain exhausted. But anyway, all they can do is stand back and watch until he comes round again. Hurley. The moment he opens his eyes, your ladyship, I swear I shall get word to you. What a surprise, even in matters of life and death, Mr. Sholmes has to do things his way. Okay. What else is there? I mean, I guess I can... Iris? Don't worry, I'm alright. But we must find the true culprit. Yes, absolutely. I think that every time I speak, I keep giving them a different voice. And I don't know what to make of it. Okay. Let's move to Windbank's main shop. Anything? No. Okay, let's move back to the street then. Or... let's check the hospital then. I don't know where to go. This is probably where I don't need to go. Definitely. Apparently I needed to go to the prison. 16th April, local prison, cell 13. Gina doesn't appear to be here. I believe she must be in questioning at the moment. Oh, but wait a minute. What is it, Iris? Well, if you examine the scene here carefully, there's another possibility, isn't there? Ginny could have slipped the key from the jailer when he wasn't looking and escaped. Oh my! Well, why would she do something like that? It would only make her situation worse. Calm down, Runo. I was only joking, of course. Oh. You had me worried there. I thought it was a great deduction. Yes, it must be your way with words, Iris. You're so wonderfully persuasive. Perhaps you don't fully understand the weight your words carry. Oh dear, I'm sorry. I suppose a light-hearted great detective is a contradiction in terms. Well, in the same situation, I'm sure Mr. Sholmes would have just thrown his head back and guffawed. I'm not entirely sure that's helpful, Mr. Naruhodo. Well, anyway, it looks like we won't be able to talk to Gina for a while. We should try to make progress with our investigation in the meantime. Yes, come along then, Runo. Come along, Susie. Okay, time to explore everywhere, because I still don't know where to go. Let's head back to the storeroom. Examine. To the main shop, I suppose. Oh, I can still click on this. Green blood. It just seems wrong somehow. Oh, there are all sorts of different colors. There are pretty pinks and purples too, you know. Like I said, everyone's blood is different. I wonder what color my blood would turn out. Actually, I don't want to know. It's probably just pure black. He's just got, like, his clothes, it's just black blood. Like some kind of demon or something. Baker Street. You can examine. There's still a Scotland Yard carriage outside Windybanks. I never imagined we'd be investigating a case so close to home. Poor Iris, she's very upset by all this. I'm sorry I was there. I should have done more. None of this is your fault, Runo, so please, don't apologize. But it is the criminals who are to blame for all this. So let us investigate and work out how to catch them. Yes, you're right. Make skin thoroughly, but can't find anything out of place. Oh my god, I didn't mean to click there. I don't. So blue, name unknown. We got. Give me a second, because I don't know where to go. Oh, okay. Move back. Not move. Court record. Aha. There's blood here. Mr. Naruhodo, I don't know if you've noticed, but there's something rather troubling here. I have noticed. The red smear, you mean? Yes, it looks like blood, doesn't it? I wonder if Susato-san had picked up on that. Well, in that case, yes, we need Iris. We should show this to her before we forget. Cat photograph number 2's information has been updated in the court record. I can move to Windbank's main shop and then I can present it to Iris. There. Oh, that looks like blood! I would say it's from a gloved finger, almost certainly a glove made of leather. Well, don't worry, Runo. You can leave the rest to me. Oh, this one's just purple. How many people were bleeding here? Look at that. Yes, that is a color we haven't seen before, isn't it? We simply must add it to the portfolio of blood samples. It could be an important clue. Although, it would be nice to find out whose blood these different colors correspond to at some point. Well, this particular stain of blood... Oh, you've had an idea, haven't you? Do you know whose blood this is? Yes, I have an idea whose blood this is. Not from the color it turned, but with a little deduction. That is right. I think it is clear. Iris, you know as well? You first, Runo. Who do you think it belongs to? Alright, I believe that this is blood of, Okay, so it's not Magnus, and it's not, it can only... I think it can only be thrice-fired? Thrice-fired Mason. You don't sound very sure of yourself, the way you trailed off there. Well, it was 2 months ago now, that case. And of course, I never met the victim, so I'm struggling to remember his name. He was definitely thrice-fired, though. The victim of the omnibus case. Yes, his name was indeed Mr. Thrice-Fired Mason. But that would mean that this bloodstain was left on the ticket 2 months ago. Yes, I think it was. Gina brought this ticket here to Windybanks yesterday. I'm suggesting that the bloodstain was already on it at that time. So it is a smear of blood from the time that Mr. Mason was killed 2 months ago. Something else is coming back to me now. Mr. McGilded was also wearing leather gloves that night. Oh, we're finally getting to see that Mr. McGilded was totally a killer. I believed it the whole time. There's no way he could have been in this. Now I ask yous, what good-hearted soul wouldn't rush to help a fella bleeding from his stomach? I wasn't about to start worrying about me gloves now, was I? I reached out to give the man a hand. It certainly does look like a leather-gloved thumbprint, this mark, but we know that Mr. McGilded had no injuries at the time anywhere on his body, from which we can conclude that any blood on the glove belonged to the victim, Mr. Mason, Mr. Naruhodo. You sound just like Mr. Sholmes. Minus the quirky slip-ups, I hope. Yes, I think you are right, Runo. Very well. Let's make a note of this. The details of the pawn broker's ticket for the coat have been updated. The bloodstain analysis data has been updated in the court record. Can I go to the hospital now? I don't know what's next. Guess I just look for more blood in my evidence. That's it. I'm seriously lacking evidence here. Let's talk about shovels. Or not. It is spring at last, and the weather is warmer now, but I love the smell of the fire and the steam rising from the kettle. Oh, how about some tea, Bruno? Thanks, Iris, but I'm alright for now. With the green tea Sada-san makes me from time to time and Iris's unique herbal infusions, this place is paradise for a true tea lover. If you're sure, you know I always have plenty whenever you're feeling thirsty. Okay, so this isn't very helpful. Converse. Can I talk to the detective then? I don't know what to do. Again. Inspector, what do you make of this? Ah, what have we here, then? And a redemption ticket for an article deposited here, is it? Looks like someone ran out of office stationery and wrote the ticket on whatever paper was to hand. Yes, this is a ticket for Mr. McGilded's overcoat, the one that the little diver turned up with yesterday. Oh, actually, no, it is not. Really? Think you know better than me, do ya? No, I didn't mean to, Runa's right, Gracie, it isn't the same ticket. Of course it isn't, of course it isn't. I never doubted you, your ladyship. So what's all this about, then, if I might be so bold as to ask? This is a second ticket. A second one? It seems that Mr. McGilded, in fact, had another article in storage here at Windybanks. Is that right? I think we need to discuss this further with the inspector, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, good, because he's ever so easy to talk to. This ticket was in one of the pockets of Mr. McGilded's overcoat. You mean to tell me? Yes, there is more than just the music box disc, it seems. I should have insisted on the lads taking it back to the yard and examine it properly. Well, according to the details on this ticket, Mr. McGilded deposited another article here with Mr. Windybank. Yes, I can see it written here. A small box, was it? Do you have any idea where it is, Gracie? Any idea at all? It's another article belonging to Mr. McGilded. It could be an important clue. Yes, I suppose it could be, Please, stop looking at me with those big turquoise eyes, all full of hope and expectation. It's too much pressure, I'll lose my marbles. I'll go barking. This is no time for dog impressions, Inspector. That's enough sauce from you, Sunshine. There's one thing that springs to mind. According to this ticket, the redemption deadline's already passed, hasn't it? Oh, yes, of course. Articles are only held for 2 months. So the small box will no longer be in here, then. That is right, it's been forfeited. Which means it could be on the shelves in front of the shop, where the forfeited items are offered for sale. Yes, the shelves in the front. We must search them at once. You're wasting your time. Oh, there are dozens of little boxes out there, hundreds even. We can't possibly know which one might have been McGilded's. That information is not written in the ledger. Well, I think we should at least have a look, just in case. Of course, your ladyship, of course! Very sensible of you, I'm sure. I'm sorry if my voice keeps cracking or something. This is getting old. Dong, dong, dong. Ah! I nearly jumped on my skin there. How could Mr. Windybank set up such a wicked trap? I doubt he set out to scare anyone. Is that really the time? I think perhaps we should pay Yina another visit soon. Oh? Her trial is tomorrow. We must establish whether or not you will be defending her. I think we should ask her one more time. She may have changed her mind. Don't you remember, Runo? You told her she could rip up the representation papers if she didn't want you to be her lawyer. Really? Did I say that? Yes, you did. The deadline for submitting the paperwork is fast approaching. In that case, we had better hurry back to the prison and talk to Gina again. And I'm going to keep fumbling over my words because I'm speaking too fast. 16th April, 5:41 p.m. Local prison, cell 13. Ah, Gina, good. You're back. Ah! The police must have finished questioning her then. Oh, how was it, Ginny? Was it awful? Didn't bother me. Thank you for the papers you signed before. It meant we were able to investigate at Windybanks. Oh, right. Coughs. Don't you want to know how we got on? Oh, we've been ever so busy. What's the point in asking? Won't change what everyone's saying, that I did it. That is not... Gina, we can't ask for your final decision. What decision? About tomorrow's trial. Will you let me defend you or not? I must submit the paperwork now if you'd like Mr. Naruhodo to represent you. Right, I see. She's really lost her fight all of a sudden. But I know what that feels like. The worry is just so hard to bear. Oh, right then. Blimey, give it a rest with them eyes, Iris. So come on then, fill us in. Who done it? Unfortunately, we don't know that yet. You don't say. We don't know yet, Gina. But Mr. Naruhodo and all of us know that you are innocent of this crime. And while we haven't yet managed to work out who the real culprit is, there are a number of interesting facts that we have managed to establish. Oh yeah? Like what? Well, for example, the reason for you being there in the first place. I think I know why you broke into Windybanks that night. It looks like I'm going to have to take some evidence that clearly reveals the reason, and thrust it in Gina's face, or I could present it to her calmly, I suppose. Honestly, the first option sounds funnier. We found this in Mr. Windybank's storeroom, the manuscript of Iris's latest story. Ah! Oh, right. Well, that's good then. Curiously, the storeroom at Windybanks showed no sign of being ransacked for items of value or the like, with one exception. The box file that housed this manuscript. It was you, wasn't it, Gina, who broke open the box containing this manuscript last night? You were determined to find out whether or not the Hound of the Baskervilles was really there. That is the real reason you broke into the storeroom last night, isn't it? Ah! Why don't you tell us what happened, please? Let's go over the representation later. Alright, yeah, this Baskerville story. It is the latest Sholmes adventure, right? But it ain't been printed yet. So I figured it's gotta be worth a fair few pieces of silver, right? Oh yes, at least 5,000 pounds. What? So, you intended to sell Iris's manuscript, did you? No, Ginny, how could you? What? Wait, no, hang on. Of course I weren't gonna sell it. All I wanted to do was find out if the mantle script, or whatever you call it, was really there or not. That is the only reason I was in the place. For Iris's sake. Isn't that right? Ah! We knew you'd done it from the start, Gina. Of course we did. But I knew you wouldn't do anything mean like that, Ginny. I just knew it. Well, when I saw the manuscript in the storeroom, it reminded me of what you said the night before. Grown-ups do a lot worse than that, believe me. Barefaced liars, the lot of them. You just ain't realized it yet. I'm telling ya, that mantle script ain't at Windybanks. You'd soon see if you had a look. If I'm honest, I have wondered if Hurley's telling me the truth sometimes. I mean that I sometimes wonder if he might have hidden my manuscript somewhere I don't know, even though it is wrong of me to doubt him. Oh, Ginny, that was so sweet of you. Alright, alright. I'll tell you why I did it. Just stop looking at me like that, Iris. my god. Okay, let's go over the representation and then we'll go continue up with the little thing. We already have the representation papers and other documents we need. All we have to do is hand them to the court clerk, and that is if you'll allow me to represent you in court tomorrow. Nah, don't bother. Ginny. Rip 'em up and chuck 'em, would ya? Them representation papers, or whatever they're called. This cell ain't fancy enough to have a bean. So, will you do in court tomorrow? What will you do in court tomorrow? I'll be fine on me own. I don't think you will be. Look, it don't matter. What's gonna happen is gonna happen. This is one stubborn pickpocket. It weren't because of Ira. If that's not why I did it. I just wanted to know the truth, that is all. You wanted to know if Mr. Sholmes was being honest, if he'd really deposited the manuscript at Windybank's. It's like I told you the night before. I never had a father. But Iris's lot ain't like mine. She's got her dad, only she can't see him. And I reckon that's gotta be Arter. Yeah, she probably won't ever be able to see him. I'm gonna be honest with you, Gina. That's why she writes her stories. They're about her dad, really. That's what it sounded like to me, anyway, last night when I was listening to what you were saying. Stories about Daddy? You mean they're not the adventures of a great detective, so much as the adventures of a great detective and his trusty partner? Well, that's how I see it, yeah? You're so thoughtful and so kind, Ginny. Yes, and we never thought any differently, did we? Look! Give it to rest, will ya? I hate all this chummy nonsense. Did you hear? I hate it. Don't trust no one, right? That's how I work. 'Cause if you don't trust no one can let you down. So leave me alone. Go on, scapa. Oh, what's that there? On her, I don't remember what they're called, but like on her sleeves there, where the I hadn't noticed until now, but it's unmistakable. Right there on both shelves of that overcoat, on both sleeves of that overcoat. Like I know that these are sleeves, but like I'm talking about this part, the part connecting the arm, the part between the sleeve and the arm, the white part here, where the bloodstains are. Some very suspicious red stains. Oh, what? Why are you looking at me like that? I think it might be worth presenting some of our other findings in that area to Gina now. Those stains on the sleeves of your new coat, Gina. They are blood, aren't they? Not that I know whose blood yet. What? Blood, Mr. Naruhodo. You don't appear to have any obvious wounds yourself, though. So could it be that the blood that spattered from Mr. Windybank when he was shot last night? Let's not beat around the bush here. This trusty friend of mine will get results much faster than anything else. Take it easy, Iris. Don't move, Jeannie. I'm going to shoot. She just points a gun at her and shoots her. Purple? Who was Purple? Purple was, thrice fired Mason, right? Purple was thrice fired. Green is unknown. Possibly Herlock, Sholmes. And blue is Windybank. It's an interesting little idea there. Oh. Oh my! What the? Forget the sleeves! The whole coat is covered in blood. Of course! The black color of the fabric was masking the stains. That's why you haven't seen them until now. And the blood has reacted with the chemical to turn the purple color, which matches one of the samples we've already collected perfectly. Yes, now let us see. Who had the purple blood? Aha! Yes, it was the brickmaker, Mr. Mason, the victim of the murder case 2 months ago. I knew it. What are y'all on about? The victim? What do you mean? It's a rather uncomfortable situation, Mr. Naruto, but I think this makes things quite clear. It means the omnibus case is finally solved. The truth about who really murdered the brickmaker, Mr. Mason, is revealed. Oi! Would someone explain what's going on? Stop telling half a story! Truth of the omnibus case. We can see now that the victim's blood is all over the Mr. McGilda's overcoat. But in the trial 2 months ago, the defendant said this in his testimony. Now I ask yous, what good-hearted soul wouldn't rush to help a fella bleeding from his stomach? I wasn't about to start worrying about me gloves now, was I? I reached out to give the man a hand. But if you look at this overcoat now, it's clear. These stains couldn't have arisen from McGilda trying to pull the victim to his feet. No, if that was what had really happened, the blood wouldn't have splashed all over the front of the coat. The only explanation for this pattern of blood is that it splattered over McGilda's coat when he stabbed the victim in the stomach. I've tried to run away from the truth for long enough, but there's no escaping it now. The true culprit in that case, Mr. Mason's killer, was Magnus McGilded. Although I figured it was pretty obvious that entire case that McGilded was the killer. Even if you didn't believe he was, the way he acted at the end was a sure giveaway. Mr. Naruto, that horrible case is solved at last, and I helped the man walk free from that trial. I used all that twisted testimony and all that sham evidence to prove his innocence. How could I have let that happen? Runo, did you believe him, though? Did you believe Mr. McGilded was innocent? I believed, or rather, I think I was trying to believe. I wanted to, because believing in those you represent in court is a defense lawyer's greatest weapon. A weapon? A lawyer's weapon. Before we came to Great Britain, a great friend of mine taught me a valuable lesson. You mean Kazuma-sama? Listen, Runosuke. We lawyers are only human. We can't know for sure what is the truth and what is a lie, which is why we must resort to our primary weapon. An unwavering belief in our clients. That is all we really have. Unwavering belief? Only when we truly believe what our clients tell us can we fight with everything we have for their cause. And if in any battle, there can be no victory without faith. So I believe you, unwaveringly. Heh. What is funny, Gina? Core. Sounds like this in this Emperor of Japan you come from. Everyone must be soft. Well, come on. Look at the mess it's got you into, believing in that bog trotter. Yes, I inadvertently helped a murderer walk free. Well, at least you've learned your lesson now, eh? Believing in people's never worth it. Someone always stabs you in the back in the end. Soon as you let your guard down, you've had it. Take a leaf out of my book. Believe no one. Get hurt by no one. Gina, may I ask you something? What? I'd just like to make absolutely sure. What would you like us to do with these representation papers for tomorrow's trial? How many times do I have to say it? Rip them up and chuck them away. Are you really sure that is what you want? I bet that's what he wants and all now. Mr. I'm a believer lawyer over there. Don't forget, it was me in that trial 2 months ago. I led everyone up the garden path, didn't I? And you're telling me you can believe in me after that? Not likely. Well, Mr. Naruhodo, a lawyer's primary weapon is an unwavering belief in his clients. Ultimately, it comes down to whether or not I feel I can trust Gina after everything that's happened. Well, duh, I'll trust her. Gina, let me say it again. Please allow me to represent you in tomorrow's trial. Eh? Are you half-baked? Not at all. You've not once admitted to committing the crime, have you? What is more, I believe that you are telling me the truth. Seriously, Mr. Naruhodo, didn't you hear all of what I said before? I'm a born liar. Fibs just trip off my tongue, and I'm a diver, don't forget. I pulled the wool over your eyes 2 months ago and got you into all sorts of trouble. Why would you ever trust me now? I just don't get it. Gina, I do understand why you choose not to put your trust in others. But I assure you, there's more to this life than you yet realize. Well, what do you mean? The world we live in is full of people you would do very well to trust. People who won't ever let you down. Eh? It is true I'm just a student of law, and I'm certainly lacking in courtroom experience. But I can promise you this. Whatever happens, and until my very last breath, I am completely on your side. What do you expect me to say to that? Then it is decided. I will take these papers now and carry out the necessary preparations for tomorrow's trial. It would be a shame to throw them away now after it's been penned with your name so beautifully. Do what you like. You Eastern law are... I don't know what you are. I don't get ya. Gina's taken herself off to the back of her cell. She'd never admit it, but I hope she's feeling relieved. That turned out all right in the end, I think. Whoever's hiding there, show yourself at once! Eavesdropping is the height of cowardice. Miss Sato! Somebody is there in the shadows. I can sense it. Somebody who wasn't there before. What? Blimey, you're sharp, eh? It's a Gregson. I suppose you were using one of those mystic Japanese arts, like the art of stealth I've heard so much about. If anyone was being stealthy, it was you, Inspector. Gregsy! Oh dear me, I am most terribly sorry, your ladyship. I didn't mean to startle you. How long have you been listening in on our conversation? Good grief, listening in! No. I just got word that there were some visitors who were refusing to leave even though it was after hours. I assure you, your ladyship, I only just arrived this very minute, not a moment earlier. That is all it is. Nothing untoward. Nothing at all. After hours? Is it that late already? So then, I'll humbly excuse myself now, your ladyship. Ta-ta, toodaloo, cheerio, all the best, bye, and bye. I can't. That's a lot of farewells, and not one of them appropriate for her ladyship. Oh, but I wanted to have a chat. I'm terribly sorry, but time is pressing at the minute. Oh, I see. That's a shame. If I don't get this emergency at the Supreme Court dealt with sharpish, Lord Strongheart will, well, emergency? Lord Strongheart? Nothing. Forget I said anything. Anyway, I'm off. Alright, Gracie, if you have to, but let's chat soon. Delighted, charmed, can't wait, if you please, by pleasure. That's a lot of pleasantries, and not one of them sounded sincere. Gracie's so funny. He says such silly things. It's certainly entertaining to see an inspector of the police fawning to a no, spawning to a 10-year-old. That could be interpreted two ways, and I don't like one of those interpretations. But anyway, I wonder what this emergency is at the Supreme Court. I must attend to the court clerk's office now before it closes. Yes, of course. Thank you, Mrs. Sato. Kindly escort Iris home now, Mr. Naruto. I shall meet you there later. No Holmes? And so our investigation came to an end. Susato-san went to file the necessary papers for my defense of Gina the following day, and then it hit me. I could no longer suppress the wretched feeling that had been gnawing away at my insides. Tomorrow, Susato-san would be leaving Britain and making her way back to Japan. 16th April, 11:13 p.m., Naruhodo's Legal Consultancy. Naruhodo-san. It has been a very trying day, hasn't it? I do hope you're not too exhausted. What about you, Susato-san? Today has been even more trying for you, I'm sure. Mr. Sholmes was shot before our eyes, Gina was arrested, and all on the back of the news that her father has fallen ill, and that she must return to Japan at once. I hope your father recovers soon. Thank you for your kind words. I wonder why it is that so many thoughts rage in my head like a storm, and yet I seem unable to find the words to express any of them. I know exactly what you mean. Anyway, I have one final task to complete as your judicial assistant. Once that is done, I shall make preparations for my departure tomorrow. One final task? Can we talk about the shovel? It's a very important shovel, in case you didn't know. It's incredibly important to the story of this game. You can't have Ace Attorney without a shovel. What is the matter with me? Why am I examining things at a time like this? This is my last chance to talk to Susato-san before she leaves. But I need to talk about the shovel! It's so important! Naruhodo will never learn just how important the shovel is. It is just 2 months since we arrived in London, but we've managed to establish this office. It was finally feeling as though we were settling in. I would be lying if I said I felt no regret. I'm so sorry, Susato-san. It's just so sudden. I really don't know what to think. I've had no time to gather my thoughts. I know we've only been here at a short time, but... Benedict? Oh! This guy. Eggert Benedict. Yeah, I've met him. Eggert is not his name. I'm full on not believing that. There is no way it is. And there's no way anyone actually in the Ace Attorney universe, it's actually totally possible for someone to be named Eggert Benedict. But yeah, no way he's my name. It's his name. I know we've only been here a short time, but in my limited experience of the courtroom, I feel I've learned something. And what would that be? It seems to me there are many facets to people's personalities. Facets? And like a jewel, the light plays off them in complex patterns, illuminating their actions and their motives. What do you like about Benedict? But we see only see a small number of total facets, and what is illuminated is only a part of the whole story. That's why I had so much trouble with it. It says, but we only see. What lies in the shadows? What do those facets we cannot see look like? Perhaps there are some parts we'll never lay eyes on for as long as we live. I know nothing about his backstory right now, so I am a little interested to learn that later down through this case. Perhaps there's some parts you'll never lay eyes on for as long as we live. That is so true. Sometimes I feel as though I'm blind to so much. Like, why is he using it? His age is unknown, and he's probably using a fake name, so I am curious about it. Sometimes I feel as though I'm blind to so much. Yeah. But I keep hoping that one day it will all become clear. That all the facets will be illuminated, and I'll finally understand how everything fits together. Naruhodo-san, I suppose what matters is that we keep our eyes open and keep moving forward, even if the way sometimes seems dark. It is amazing to think it's been just 2 months. You've grown so much. Sorry, I have what? Oh no, it was nothing. Unimportant. Tomorrow's departure. Do you know what time you'll leave London in the morning? Yes, I picked up my ticket earlier. I shall be leaving here at 4 a.m. I see. Well, I'll escort you to the station. Absolutely not. I absolutely knew the entire time that McGilded was guilty. It was mostly the way that he was always mocking everyone for how for getting his innocent verdict. He was just laughing the entire time at everyone. There was no way he was actually innocent at that point to me. I just thought he was guilty. Sorry? I'm sure you realize why I couldn't possibly let you do that. You have a very important day ahead of you tomorrow. Gina's trial. Yes, I know, but every word you utter will have the potential to determine Gina's fate. You must get as much rest as possible, even though, like me, I'm sure you'll find it hard to sleep. But please, for me, do try. Yeah. You mentioned one final task a moment ago. What did you mean? Oh my, I nearly forgot. Please, I want you to have this. What is that? Some huge bundle of documents. It is my notes from the case 2 months ago. The murder that was committed on the omnibus. The McGilded case. It seems to me that this case of Mr. Windybank's murder, of which Gina is accused, is very much tied up with that omnibus case in ways that are not completely apparent. So I took the liberty of consolidating my writings about the case for you. With everything else she's had to think about, Sada-san's still managed to do this, and all neatly laid out for me in her beautiful handwriting. It was my pleasure. I can only hope that it'll bolster your case tomorrow for Gina. Thank you so much, Sada-san. I'll do my best to use it wisely. You really are the best judicial assistant in the world. Well, that is extremely flattering. But I'm sorry to say that I've been a complete failure. Sorry? I didn't quite catch what you said there. Oh, ignore me. I was just mumbling to myself. The McGilded case notes have been entered into the court record. Oh well, it is getting rather late. I think you should go to bed now, Naruhodo-san. I must finish packing up my things in my room. Sada-san, I wish you the very best of luck tomorrow. Good night. Wait, there is something I need to say. Hiya! How many times is she gonna throw me? In the second half of this game, is she just gonna continue to throw me? What was that? What was that? I don't really know many quotes from Benedict yet, probably because I haven't made it to the trial, but or At least as far as I know, Kazuma doesn't have too many quotes, since I haven't made it to the second half of this game, and I plan to take a little break after I finish Case 1-5. But how could Benedict and Kazuma definitely have a very different talking style, at least from what I've seen. So that does confuse me in your message and how people contribute things. A secret technique of mine. The Susato shutdown. Shutdown? Please, I implore you. If we have to voice out our goodbyes, I won't be able to hold back my tears. It's fine. I did figure he was using a fake name anyway, so it's fine if you didn't use his fake name, because that still doesn't tell me anything. Just I would at least like to avoid heavy spoilers. Susato-san. It's fine. It truly had been a trying day. On our feet for hours, getting Gina to open up to us, and learning the truth about that nemesis of a case. Physically and mentally, I was exhausted. And yet the idea of sleep seemed impossible. But I forced myself to close my eyes, and as a cacophony of scenes of our lives here in London played through my mind, eventually, my fatigue triumphed and I fell into a deep slumber. Well, that's 17th of April, the small hours, St. Sinner's Hospital, Ward 3. Yes, I quite understand. That is a great weight off of my mind. Rest assured, I shall put everything in place exactly as we have discussed. Thank you so much. It has been an honor and a pleasure to be acquainted with you, Mr. Sholmes. On the contrary, the pleasure has been mine. Name drop? I bid you farewell, and Godspeed. Oh, no name drop. Don't know who he's talking to. Oh, Susato, my dear madam. Okay, I think that's where I'm going to end the stream for today. I want to finish up Case 1-5 soon, so I'll probably stream it the next two days, Monday and Tuesday. Thank you for following, Izzy the Ace. But, yeah, I'd like to finish this up soon, and I've got to do something soon, so I don't really have the time to continue. But for the next 2 days will be Case 1-5, and I hope y'all enjoy that. Sorry, I have a terrible ending soon thing.